Aira presents a conversation with Tiffany Manosh. I'm Pete Lane. Welcome to a Blind Abilities Network production. I had the opportunity to catch up with Tiffany Manosh at the 2017 National Federation of the Blind Convention in Orlando, Florida. Tiffany shared her passions, her passion for technology, her passion for travel, and her passion for Aira, the visual interpreter for the blind. Our conversation at the hotel came to an abrupt conclusion, but I was fortunate enough to catch up with Tiffany later by Skype. You'll hear the differences in the audio from those two conversations. Without further ado, sit back and relax and enjoy this fascinating conversation with Tiffany Manosh. Brought to you by Aira.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Manosh, and I have retinitis pigmentosa. I was diagnosed with it actually later in life. At first, they didn't know what the vision problem was. Came on very early, probably not till my late 20s. I knew that I didn't have the vision. I was very fortunate. I was able to drive, and I was to a point where I knew that I could no longer see lights changing, and I couldn't tell the brake lights of the cars in front of me, and I knew that it was time to give it up. No one told me I had to. I could have kept trying and doing it, but I gave it up because A, I didn't want to be in an accident, and B, I didn't want to be the cause of an accident. It was just one day I came in, I said, "Here, Mom, here's my keys." And she's like, "What?" I said, "I can't do it anymore. Here they are." That was a little bit of a frustration point, but, I knew it had to be done. Through schooling, you kind of get picked on with the large print books and all that fun stuff, but then through high school, integrated very easily, and then into college, which was a challenge finding readers and getting textbooks, as any college student fights that challenge. I would say that high school was frustrating, just like any student not really liking high school. However, I went to a high school that actually had a great visually impaired and blind program, so I had all the resources that I need there. I guess it was pretty easy to have any material that I needed available to me on the spot, so that part was really nice. However, I just really didn't care for school, but I went through the routine of doing your homework and going to classes and all that fun stuff. Transitioning into college, that was more of a challenge because I didn't have the resources like I was used to, and struggled and dropped classes, picked up others, constantly fighting that battle of finding a note taker, finding a reader. Finally, I got into my own little niche of finding friends and saying, "Hey, want to take notes? You can get paid through DSPS if you want to take notes." I'd find really good classmates to do that, and then I would just follow their schedule. "Hey, I'm taking this class. What are you taking?" "Yeah, I'm taking that one too." And cool, let's do it together. That was really nice. I think students have a better advantage now than I had. There's just so much more available. Students now have the opportunity to have materials on time, meaning being available right when their sighted students have them. And I just feel that students nowadays are better off. One thing I do have to say is I've had the opportunity to travel quite a bit, and that's been really nice. I think that's one of the highlights that I really enjoy. Traveling with my family has been really nice. Being able to describe things to me, whether it be as a family trip or just my mom and I, really having the opportunity to enjoy the sights and places that I've had the opportunity of going to, taking several cruises. Seems like whenever my mom and I travel, we always have some kind of adventure along the way, which has really made the trips even more meaningful to me.
Tiffany, I noticed we didn't have any specific stories about your cruising with your mom. Do you have any to share with us?
A couple of cruise stories. I've had the great fortune of cruising with my mom, my best friend and travel partner. One of the cruises we took was through the Panama Canal. And it was a very last-minute trip that we kind of planned. And there was one room left on the very back of the cruise ship, and we typically like the middle of the ship, but Mom was like, well, okay. It actually turned out to be the best spot on the ship for me because I could go out on the balcony, which we had, and really see the locks as we were going through the different sections. It was so cool to see how the guys on both sides are whistling back and forth to communicate as far as helping the ship through, the lock, and then the water levels going up and down. It's just really, really cool. One of our stops was in Panama City. and we did a city tour, and our tour guide's name was Geronimo, and his English was very broken. You really had to concentrate to understand what he was saying to his group. And we got into this one building, and in the middle it was a large table with miniature buildings and lakes and bridges and everything of Panama City. And he came over to me and he said in his broken English, "I borrow." And I'm like, "What?" And he points to my cane and says, "I borrow." Okay. And so I handed my cane, and I wasn't sure what he was going to do with it, but it actually ended up being really cool because he used it as a pointer to point to the different buildings and miniature structures on this large table, which allowed me the opportunity to be a part of the group and see what he was pointing at because I could follow my cane to the item he was trying to describe to the group. And then afterwards, he handed back my cane, and we went on to another room, and once again, he came over and said, "I borrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, here." Because at this point I knew it was going to help me be more a part of the group. You know, he was really kind of finding a way to include me, which was really cool, I thought. At first I was kind of hesitant, like, I don't want to give up my cane, but it really turned out to be for the better. Another cruise my mom and I took to Hawaii, Tahiti, Bora Bora, and the Marquesas Islands. It was a 30-day cruise on Holland America. Started in San Diego, went to Hawaii, and then Bora Bora, Tahiti, and then Marquesas Islands, and then back to San Diego. We were sailing the South Seas, and on Holland America, they have a tech computer room, and they provide free classes on all of Microsoft desktop. Each class was an hour-long class, and it was on the desktop, Skype, password and security, the calendar, Outlook, all these different one-hour classes. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing, because I love computers and it's what I do. So the first day, I had Mom show me where the class was on the ship because I wasn't really sure. And I had a Contigo coffee mug, which is a spill-proof, supposedly, mug, and it was empty. And I started to enter the class, and the instructor stopped me and said, "You can't bring that in." And I said, "It's empty." He goes, "I don't care if it's empty. You can't bring it in." Really stern, and I'm like, okay. And so I turned to Mom and said, "You mind taking it back to the cabin?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So she did. And I entered the classroom, and I kind of hung out in the back and just listened to what he had to say. Later that day, there was another one. And so I came back and sat in the back of the room. And as I sat down, I asked him, I said, "Do these computers have internet access?" And he goes, "No, no internet." I'm like, "Oh." He goes, "Only I have internet, but you guys don't have internet." I'm like, "Oh, dang, I was hoping to download Zoom Text, which is a screen magnification software." He's like, "No, but there's magnifier on all of these machines." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, can you show me how to launch it?" And so he quickly did. I'm like, "Cool. So now I can follow you." And I explained that this is how, I use the computers and everything. He's like, "All right." And that day, he was asking questions, and then he got into shortcuts, and because I'm very familiar with computers, that's what I use a lot of, are the shortcuts. And so students would try to answer the questions, but were not at all right. And I'd raise my hand, and he'd call on me, and I'd answer the question. I would win, a couple times I won a luggage tag because I answered it correctly. Then he asked this question, and this one gal answered it really well. So he offered her this t-shirt. And I said to him, I want one." Well, we'll see. And so he kept asking us questions, and of course I would let others answer first, and then I would raise my hand and answer the question. And at the end of the class, as I was packing up, the student next to me said, "Check out your monitor." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Look, he just put something on your monitor." I looked at the monitor, and I'm like, "Oh, cool." And he had thrown a t-shirt over the monitor at the end of the class for me because I had answered all the questions right, which I thought was really cool. So I kept coming to the classes. One day, I typically sat in the back row, so a lady wasn't understanding him. So I got up and I walked over and I showed her, and then I said, "Okay, now you do it." And she was able to do it. And he saw that I had done that. He came back to us, he goes, "Well, I guess I don't have to worry about the back row. You've got it all under control." And by the end of the cruise, he was relying on me at times to help others, and just really was kind of had opened up, which was really cool. At first he was kind of this gruff, I'm the boss kind of attitude. And then once he saw how knowledgeable I was with computers, he really let me assist a little bit within the classes if needed and so forth. And I think that brings from my positive attitude about my blindness, that it's just a characteristic of me. I don't let it, get in my way. It's just a part of me. And I find solutions and other ways of doing stuff. A student was asking him, hey, what do you think of a monitor for someone who's starting to lose their vision? And he's like, I don't know, ask Tiff. He said, so what do you think? He says, where would you go to look for monitors, and what size monitor would you get? And I said, well, it depends. Are they just starting to lose their vision, or, what aspect are they in? And I said, well, I have a very large monitor. I think it's like a 28-inch monitor, and I'd gotten it online, and I gave him the resources that I found it at. He's like, yeah, I'd go there too. And I just thought it was cool that he allowed me to provide info to see what I would be able to assist this person with, and then either confirm or deny that that was a good source. That was a lot of fun.
Traveling with Aira has made it even easier for me. Just the ability to have things described in a way that not most people understand how to describe. So I really feel that Aira has actually enhanced my traveling even more just through the last year that I've had Aira.
We are just now looking at all of the seating area. Right where you're facing right now, we're going to turn slightly to your left, just a little bit. There's a lady on your left, so we don't want to come in contact with her.
I'm a huge Disney fan. I've always enjoyed Disney, and any opportunity I have to go to Disney, I'm gonna do it.
Tinkerbell hovers in front of a giant spiral of pixie dust. Decorative lights on her green dress resemble leaves.
So I knew that I was coming to Florida and I was going to take that opportunity. Yeah, I was a little apprehensive. Night travel is not as good for me as during the day because I can see some, but I do rely on the skills that I have from the Louisiana Center for the Blind. I do know the parks a little bit.
Hi there.
But we were having to ask questions a lot, asking, am I going in the right direction? And then I started using Aira even more and more, and it just made it so easy.
Now we're reaching the end of the handrail. There's going to be an open section.
It was like a breeze. It felt like I had someone sighted with me because it was so easy to use while navigating the parks.
Are you ready?
Aira is an amazing tool that has only been launched for about 2 years now. Aira is a smart wearable glass that has a video camera above the right eye. What it does is it connects with your phone, app you download on your smartphone, and then with the glasses and your phone, you connect to a live agent. And that agent is sitting in front of a computer. On their computer screen, they can see what you're seeing through the video camera on the glass. And they can describe what's around you, they can read stuff to you, they can provide information about maybe cast members or the outline of the buildings or any detail that I might miss because I couldn't see it.
See ya real soon.
Now, I don't know if you smell it. I think you're coming across a Yankee Candle.
Now, Tiffany, I know that you are an avid Aira user, and you certainly have some additional comments.
Aira is just an amazing tool that we as blind and visually impaired people now have access to. Any task, doesn't matter how small or how large, is available to us. And I just see this opening the doors for blind and visually impaired people. It has opened the doors for me, not only with traveling, but just day-to-day tasks. I see it's helping me on my job more and opening up doors that weren't available before now. There's just so much you can do with it. Every day I seem to find something new, whether it be reading mail or reading a prescription or helping with travel. It just is a fabulous, fabulous tool, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. And I'm excited to see it grow and see the potential that it has for blind and visually impaired people. I just know that in time it's just going to get better and better. Right now it's still kind of, I think, in the early stages of what it can and can't do, and I'm excited about some of the new features with Chloe coming on board, which is going to be a new feature which should be able to read text. I know that's something that Suman had announced at the National Federation of the Blind's conference, so I'm excited about that feature that might be possible for us as well. I know they want it to be able to use for facial recognition, so a blind person goes into a crowd and can scan and say, hey Chloe, is Pete in the room? And Chloe can say, yeah, Pete's across the room talking to a group of people. Wouldn't that be cool to be able to find your friends that easily? I think there's a lot to come, and I think we just have to be patient, but I really see it growing and becoming a more powerful tool.
Big sports fan, baseball, football, those are my two that I'm really into. Just always have enjoyed, played beat baseball, really enjoyed that, had a lot of fun with that. Just as I'm a sports fanatic and outdoor person, really enjoy getting out as much as I can. Beat baseball is a great sport for blind and visually impaired people. There are 6 people on the field and they're all blindfolded, and then you have 2 bases. One is where first base typically would be about 90 feet away from home plate, and then third base there would be another base, once again 90 feet away, and both of them had a beeping mechanism in them, and there would be a person behind you at home plate that would trigger one or the other base, and if you hit the ball that was beeping, you would then run in that direction of the sound. If you made it there before the fielders got the ball, which was also beeping, you scored a run. But if they got the ball before you made it to one or the other bases that was going off, you were out. It was a really fun, competitive sport, and I enjoyed playing it while I could.
And besides beat baseball, you're a big fan of your AAA baseball squad in Northern California.
I'm the president of the River City chapter of the National Federation of the Blind. On September 10th, we had our annual picnic at that time, and we're having a great time, and came home, and that evening my mom and I were attending the Sacramento River Cats baseball game, and at that time they were the AAA affiliate of the Oakland A's. But on that day I'm thinking, hey, it's a great day, we're gonna have a lot of fun. I got home from the picnic, Mom said, you need to change your clothes and you need to wear your jersey. I had the white River Cats jersey with burgundy sleeves, my name on the back with the number 00, because at the time when I made my jersey, I had a player that I wanted, but he got called up to the A's, and I thought, I want a number that it's someone that's going to stay with the River Cats the entire time. So I did the mascot, Dinger, and his number is 00. So I'm like, well, okay, if you think I need to wear it, I'll wear it. And we get there, and we're walking around. We got there kind of early, and I'm thinking, why are we here so early? And we're walking around, and then Mom says, okay, we can go back towards the front. We got to the front where the information desk was. Members of the River City chapter, my colleagues and family members, were all standing there and yelled, surprise. And I'm like, wow, you guys are all here for the game? This is great. And then someone turned to my mom and said, she doesn't know yet, does she? And Mom goes, nope, she has no clue. Well, the River Cats were in the championship playoffs against the Reno Aces, and it was Game 4. If they had not won Game 3, there would not have been a Game 4, and if there was not a Game 4, I would not have had the opportunity of throwing out a ceremonial first pitch at Rayleigh Field. So my friends had arranged, if there was Game 4, which there was, I was throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. And I was just blown away. I mean, I was in shock that they had done this for me. It was just an amazing night. My niece Ashley and I went down to the field, and we were meted by a River Cats staff member. She handed me a baseball, and she says, how can I help you? And I said to her, just line me up with a catcher, that's all I need. So the two of us walked out, the staff member lined me up, and then I took a step to my left so that when I threw it, it'd be right on line with a catcher. I had my cane in my left hand, the ball in the right, and I threw it. It hit the plate and bounced right into the catcher's mitt. It was just amazing. Everyone's cheering, they're yelling. But the most exciting thing is that not only did I have this opportunity, but also we got the National Federation of the Blind's name out there as well, because the PA announcer was announcing to the entire crowd, tonight's ceremonial first pitch, Tiffany Manosh, which of course butchered my last name, but I didn't really care, from the National Federation of the Blind. And to give a plug to the organization that has really given me a lot it was cool, to give that plug. It was just an exciting night and something I'll never forget.
I attended the Louisiana Center for the Blind. While there, I learned all the alternative techniques of blindness, cane travel, cooking, using screen readers on the computer, Braille, shop. I think my favorite class was shop. I loved getting my hands on the different machines, making stuff. And each class you had different graduation tasks. Cane travel, at first you learned how to navigate the streets of Ruston, Louisiana, finding shops and addresses and crossing the interstate, and then being dropped off, not told where you are, but just being dropped off and say, okay, get back to the center now. After many months of learning the streets and learning where things are and learning how to find landmarks either by the sun or traffic patterns, because there's a lot of one-way going north and then one-way going south, so you could kind of tell where you were and then have to get back to the center. At first I was really nervous, and so my first one was really close to the center. Found a landmark that I thought, oh my gosh, I'm this close. I got back to the center really quick, and my cane travel instructor said, Hakuna Matata? And I said, yeah, Hakuna Matata. For my shop, I actually made a 16 by 16 Mickey Mouse cutting board for my final project. There were many a times that I was so nervous because I did not want to screw up the pattern at all. And the shop instructor, Jerry Darnell, he just had to keep telling me, breathe, breathe. You're doing great, but you gotta breathe. I was just so nervous. That was really cool. I'm really glad that I have the skills that I have. Center gave me the confidence and the skills to pretty much do anything. And I tell everyone that I run into, hey, have you been to a center? Are you thinking about a center? Check them out. There's 3 NFB training centers, one in Ruston, Louisiana, one in Colorado, and one in Minnesota. I highly recommend anyone and everyone getting to a center to obtain blindness skills. If I had to do it again, I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was that empowering to me. I work at American River College, and I have to say I'm very happy where I am as an instructional assistant, assisting students and helping instructors. They realize that, my blindness is not a nuisance and it's not what's holding me back.
Tiffany, as you mentioned, you're an instructional assistant there at American River College, but you told me a very interesting story about how you applied for and obtained the job. Can you share a little bit of that with our listeners?
At the time, I was attending American River College, and I was taking some of the computer classes. I had worked in the Disabled Student Services office for a while and kind of wanted to venture out. And so there were some student help positions in the computer science department. I thought, you know what, this is really more my niche and an area that I really want to pursue. And so I started taking computer classes and was able to be a student help in the department and help out in the lab, pretty much is where I was helping out. And I was taking an advanced Word class, and the instructor asked me to stick around after class. And so I did. And she said, are you aware that there is a instructional assistant position opening in the department? And I said, yeah, I'm aware of it. And she asked me, so are you going to apply? And I said, no, I don't think so. I don't think that I'm the right fit for this. And besides, I don't think they'll hire a blind person. And she says, you would be the right fit. She goes, what were you doing today after you got done with your assignment? And I said, I was helping others. And she goes, exactly. That's exactly what you'd be doing as an instructional assistant. So you need to apply. And I told her, I said, you know what, I'll think about it. And so I went home and I really thought, is this something I could do? And I thought, why not try? If I don't try, I'll never know. And if it's meant to be, it's really meant to be. So I filled out the application. I went back to class and she said, so have you filled it out? And I said, yes, I have. And she goes, good. By the way, come by my office because I wrote a letter of recommendation for you as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding. And she goes, no. She goes, you really would be a great fit for this department, and I really want to see you apply for this. I'm like, all right, cool. I said, I really appreciate it. And I was kind of blown away that this instructor went out on the limb to push me to apply for this position. So I filled out the entire application, and there were actually 6 of us who were student help at the time who all applied for this position. And we all knew each other. The day I'd gotten a call for the interview, and I told them I'll need accommodations. I'll need Zoom text, which is a screen magnification software for the computer. And they said, that's not a problem. I'm like, great. I said, I'll also need a CCTV. And that is a machine that has a monitor on the top and then it has a table underneath, kind of like the old microfiche machines, where you can put stuff on the table and then it enlarges it up on the TV monitor so that I could read any instructions or materials that they were providing, along with doing whatever I needed to do for the hands-on portion of the interview. So I got my interview time and everything was set up for me. Went in, and I had 3 parts I had to do. I had to do mail merge in Word, I had to do a if statement and VLOOKUP in Excel, and then do a table and query in Access. And I thought, okay, of the 3, I know I can nail the mail merge, so let's start there. And I went to start, and I'm looking for Word, and there's no Word on the start menu. And I'm going, oh, great. Already nervous, throwing a curveball, what am I going to do? And I just sat back for a second and took a deep breath and said, Tiff, there's more than one way to do this. Just get it done. I ran the command WinWord, and it launched Word, got the mail merge done, saved it as they requested, onto Excel. I got to the Excel. I did what I thought was correct for the if statement. I was kind of iffy on that, but I did what I thought was correct and felt very confident with the VLOOKUP part of it, but wasn't sure if it was all correct or not. I just was doing the best that I thought I was doing at the time. And then I had to save it as my initials in Excel portion. So I went to File and saw no save as. Okay, I've never experienced this before. Wonder what I do. So I went to Save, and I clicked on that, and a dialog box came up. I had no clue what the message said on the screen. I just was like, I was stumped. I had no clue, but there was an OK and a cancel. I'm like, all right, let's see what OK does. No clue, but I'm trying. Hit the OK. And sure enough, the Save As dialog box came up. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Typed in what it wanted, hit Save, went on to Access. And the only thing I was able to get done in Access was one of the tables, and then my time was up. I then went into a 6-person interview, and each one had a question for me. We went around the table, and they asked their question. And one of the questions was, one of the members was at a computer and said to me, I've lost my file I was working on. I don't know where it was. And I was able to verbally walk them through how to maybe look for their file, and then we found what they were looking for, and that was the answer to that question. And I get done, and I am a nervous wreck. And the dean walks out with me, and she says, I know you're really nervous, but you just did an excellent job. And I was like, thank you. Walked out, and a couple weeks later, I walked into the computer lab. One of the gals who I was working with came to me and handed me a piece of paper. I'm like, what is this? And she goes, you need to go talk to our supervisor, Lynn. I'm like, all right. So I go into Lynn's office, and I'm like, Lynn, what is this? She closed the door and turned to me and said, this says, you need to call district office, and here's the phone number. And I just started shaking at that point. And it did. And I got someone at the district office, and they said, we'd like to congratulate you. You have been chosen for the instructional assistant position there at American River College. Do you accept? And I just was overjoyed. I was like, oh my God, you're kidding. Yes, I accept. And, you know, it's been an amazing ride. I have to say that this October will be 17 years. Never thought I would be in a position that long. It's been a lot of fun. It's been interesting to see over the years when I walk into a room where an instructor doesn't know me, and I put my cane up against the wall and talk to students as they're entering the classes and so forth, and the instructor will come back to me and say, can I help you? I'll say, no, I'm here to help you. I'm your instructional assistant. And you could see the wheels in their head kind of turning like, okay, you can't see, but you're going to help me, okay? By the end of the week, students will go up to the instructor to ask a question. They're like, go ask Tiff, you know, she can help you. So it really took a little bit of a learning curve from some of these new instructors to really understand that, once again, my blindness doesn't get in the way. You know, I really don't let it. I'm one of those that I try and find solutions to anything that may be a hindrance or a problem later on. A prime example is in the lab, we provide hard drives. We exchange them for the Windows classes. In the beginning, I wasn't able to do that because I couldn't see the numbers on the drives which matched the computer out in the lab. And so finally one day I'm thinking, you know what? If I am here by myself, I've got to be able to do this. So what's a solution to make this work? And I thought, oh, demo tape and label all the different drives. So I had a coworker tell me what the different numbers were, and I pulled out my slate and stylus and brailled the numbers and then put them on the drive so that way I could do it just like anybody else. So that's just one example of how I try and find solutions using non-visual techniques to help me in the workplace. And I think what's so cool is my coworkers know, hey, if it can't be done right away, she's going to find a solution to make it work. Yeah, it might be easy for you, but I've got to find a way to make it work so that I don't have to bother you later on when I may need you or need to be able to do or see whatever this is. So yeah, I've got to find ways that work for me. And I think it's a lot of educating too. I mean, I think my coworkers, when they first met me, they didn't know how to interact with me. They didn't know how to hand me things, or they were kind of afraid to use those normal words of, hey, did you see that? Or, hey, look at that. You know, they were afraid to say those words, where now it's like, hey, Tiff, did you see that? What, you missed it? What? Are you blind or something? It's really more of a comical thing, which is what I want. I'm a person who happens to be blind, and I don't let that get in my way anymore. And that's because of the National Federation of the Blind. You got to stay positive, and you got to be persistent in achieving whatever your dreams are.
That's kind of things you have to really find out when there aren't great DSPS offices available. Keeping that positive attitude is what's gonna also keep you kind of in check. Really being upbeat, keep positive, very passionate about showcasing and sharing technology with other people. I am the president of a local National Federation of the Blind chapter in Sacramento, the River City chapter. I'm always sharing the technology that I have or know of with the members of the River City chapter. I do a lot of hands-on, one-on-one sessions with members once they obtain the same technology, like the iPhone or an iPad or a Victor Reader Stream or even Aira. Love sharing the passion of technology with others.
This concludes our conversation with Tiffany Manosh, brought to you by Aira. For more information about Aira, check them out on the web at www.aira.io, AIRA.io. This has been a Blind Abilities Network production. For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com or on Twitter at blindabilities, or look for our free iOS app on the App Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. This has been Pete Lane. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.